Welcome to the St. Charles County Correspondent. I'm Noah Brandt, and I'm here as always with my good friend, co-host, co-publisher, Sam Safa. Sam, good morning.
Noah, good morning to you. It's a beautiful day in June. We've made it to a new month, and I'll tell you, you and I have been hard at work building something that we're going to release very soon. The brand new look of the St. Charles County Correspondent. So that's exciting.
We have a lot of changes coming, Sam. Things that the people, the readers, the listeners, the watchers are going to be, I think, really happy to see. Sam, I think we have to start this week with what might be one of the most sensational of just meaning the old sense or kind of crazy stories that I've seen locally in a while, which is that 200 pounds of psychedelic mushrooms were seized in a local bust at one time. 200 pounds. Did you hear anything about the story, Sam?
So I heard about this on KMOX as I was driving to work. 200 pounds of mushrooms growing in one man's apartment, apparently, allegedly. No, I've lived in an apartment. You've lived in an apartment. Is there room for you to grow anything in your apartment?
So this gentleman, this 29-year-old St. Charles County resident who had a apartment in St. Charles, he had a full lab in his apartment filled with mushrooms in different stages of growth. Uh, Investigators said about 200 pounds of psychedelic mushrooms were also seized from inside a storage unit allegedly registered to hunters. So there might even be more than 200 pounds because there's 200 pounds of just like ready to go, psychedelic mushrooms in this guy's storage unit. And then he had a whole lab in his apartment. Sam, you want to take a guess? Don't look at any of the information in front of you. And if you already know the number, you can just tell us. But you want to take a guess of the total street value estimated for this 200-pound mushroom bust.
Noah, fortunately, I have never purchased drugs other than Tylenol, and that was from a reputable pharmacist.
Sure. You've
I,
never bought street Tylenol.
I'm going to guess that it's in the tens of thousands. No,
$525,000.
that's how
Over
much
half a
people
mil,
pay for
Sam.
psychedelic mushrooms? Half a
Well,
million
I mean,
dollars for 200 pounds?
I think I've never bought psychedelic mushrooms either. Believe it or not, I know it's hard for you to probably to understand. But I think that when people are buying them, it's they're buying them by like the gram, like other drugs. So I'm sure that 200 pounds is, maybe it's a whole year's worth of supply. I'm gonna read a quote really quickly, Sam, before we move on from Lieutenant John Beiser of the St. Charles County Police Department, who's commented on the, or no, this is actually, excuse me, he's with the Franklin County Police Department, because this bust was a joint effort between the Franklin County and St. Charles County governments. And I'm trying to say, we'll link to this in the story of exactly where he was stopped. Maybe he was stopped in Franklin County because he's from St. Charles County and he lives there, and that's where the drugs are. But the Franklin County Narcotics Unit were the people who actually brought him in, and he's being held in the Franklin County detention facility. But anyway, Lieutenant John Beiser said he was asked about why the drug's popularity has increased, because apparently the popularity of psychedelic mushrooms on the rise. He gave a pretty good answer. He said it could be people's availability to the growing materials, the spores. It could be generational, but we're not sure why we're seeing the increase. But it's tenfold to what we've seen in the past. Single use of certain psychedelic drugs can permanently change your brain chemistry, permanently change you as a person for the rest of your life. End quote. So he doesn't end it with "Don't do drugs, Sam," but I think that's sort of his message he's trying to
Holy
give them.
cow. I mean, that's really kind of concerning, though. Can change you for the rest of your life if your brain chemicals are altered by the use of these drugs. I mean, I've heard people like Joe Rogan talk about doing mushrooms, and it seems to be trendy, at least in that podcast world. But man, no one has told me that it can alter your your mind for the rest of your
Well, I
life.
mean that's why people take it, right? It's to alter your mind in the moment, but hope they're not banking on that long lasting change. So anyway, good on
Wow.
Franklin and St. Charles County for this $500,000 psychedelic mushroom bust. Sam, this next story we'll end with our saddest story. But tell us that this is good news. Tell us about some local infrastructure improvements hopefully coming down the
Well,
pike.
this has nothing to do with mushrooms or drug busts, but we do have some good news that surfaced this week. Steve Ellman, the county executive, and reporting from local stations say that there's going to be $20 million. If this plan is approved, there will be $20 million available for road fixing, not road replacement, but actual like pothole fixing, which I'm thrilled to see because I'm always driving. So here's the thing, though. We're always driving down the road and we're seeing MoDOT that's like road improvements 2022, fall of 2022. Like we're going to improve this type of road, like this interchange. And that's great. I love to see that. But more often than not, Noah, I'm complaining about the pothole that I just drove over, not the way that the diamond interchange is sort of confusing me. So this brings joy to my heart because $20 million coming to St. Charles County to fix potholes specifically. The news is reporting 35,000 slabs of concrete. So I'm picturing maybe two slabs of concrete, a pothole.
Mm, yeah.
So,
Wow.
it's tens of thousands of potholes are being fixed. If you have a problem with a pothole near you, you can go to the St. Charles County website and you can submit a place for them to come fix it. This is going to be funded in part by, I feel like I'm on PBS. This is funded in part by the American Rescue Plan, also the St. Charles County Transportation Tax, which we've talked about on the show. And there will also be some local matching by local municipalities where those potholes are. So, sort of
Mm,
three buckets of funding here, but $20 million in total. And that is, it has to be spent, by the way, by the end of this year. So, we're in June, it's half
wow.
done,
I didn't know that.
the year's half over.
Mm.
So they're going to be moving on this pretty quickly. So shout out to our public works department of the county. I'm excited for this development. I will say Wentzville does a really good job of keeping like sort of our local roads pothole free. There's a couple of county roads that actually I really can't complain about where I
What are you
live
thinking?
specifically, but I do
Yeah.
know driving across the county, I have complaints.
That's funny, Sam. Yeah, well, our readers or listeners might know, I don't do as much local driving as you because I work from home. But there was a very bad pothole in my neighborhood, and which is maintained by the city, and that was just fixed about 2 weeks ago. So I don't even don't have that much to complain about.
That's great. I wish that the highways haven't been too bad. Frankly, there's a couple of spots, but this is the kind of story you want to see from your local government, using money from your tax dollars to fix roads that we all drive on. I think I don't care where you fall on the political spectrum. I feel like we can all get behind better roads using your tax dollars.
I I agree, Sam. Nobody likes that horrible tire blowout right when you're going 40 miles per hour and you hit the you don't see it and you hit the pothole. So we will keep updating on that, and maybe is it a link, Sam, or is it a form to fill out if you have a pothole you want them to take a look at?
Yeah, I understand that it's on the website. There is a section that you can submit your location and your recommendation that will be taken into consideration. So I imagine it's a form on their website.
Okay, well, we'll link to that item on the web. Sam, our final story of the day is a really a sad, but also really just odd, strange, extreme local story, which is about the fatal shooting of a dog in St. Charles County by a sheriff's deputy, a
Allegedly,
St. Charles County
allegedly by a
sheriff's deputy.
sheriff's deputy. Want to be clear on that.
That's true.
He is
He's
being
he's being
accused by
being
he's
investigated.
being accused by his neighbor for shooting the dog with a pellet gun, and there's an ongoing investigation. But the Post Dispatch writes here that this is just at this point a he said she said type of thing. They don't even quote the deputy that's in question here. They just quote the neighbor whose dog died.
Yeah, and other we'll throw a few different links. A lot of the Post Dispatch has a story up. In the Post-Dispatch mentions a kind of funny thing, which is that the St. Charles County Prosecuting Attorney's Office has been receiving calls from across the country as far away as Michigan. And the St. Charles County Prosecuting Attorney's Office posted on their Facebook, quote, "Who knew there are people in Michigan who care enough to leave us several vulgar voicemails at 2:40 a.m. on Memorial Day weekend?" People, when it comes to animals, people get extremely incensed. But there are videos floating around, Sam, of supposedly this off-duty sheriff's deputy and his neighbor really having a pretty pitched argument over the shooting of this dog, and the sheriff's deputy does not deny that he did it. So he does not admit to it in those videos, but he's criticizing his neighbor for leaving the dog unchained, because if I understand the geography, these people live about 3 houses away from each other, and there's no fence, it looks like, and so the dog might have just been getting a little close to his supposedly close to the sheriff's deputy's yard. And it is a sad story though, because the neighbors who owned the dog said they were just doing yard work. The dog was out with them. They were supposedly watching him. They finish their yard work. They go inside. They see their dog is like foaming at the mouth, not doing well. They think maybe he got bit by a snake outside, because pellet guns are pretty much silent. They didn't hear anything. They take him immediately to the emergency vet, and the vet says he has a pellet in his lung, and there's nothing we can do for him. He's going to die. And then the dog died. So it's no matter what, it's a sad story. And the St. Charles County Sheriff's Office is also doing an internal review to see if these allegations are true, because if it's true, the neighbors are understandably incensed, as they say, Sam. They're
Yeah.
incensed.
Well, we'll keep looking at this story as the investigation unfolds. But to be clear, the only true facts that we know about this story are the dog had a pellet enter his chest cavity and collapse both lungs, which caused the dog to die. It does appear to be a pellet. And those are the facts. The facts are that the dog has died. Who has done this? When this happened? These are all under investigation. But we'll continue to bring you updates as this story unfolds.
Were you a pellet gun kid,
I
Sam, at
had it,
all? Did you
it was
have BB
more
pellet guns?
BB gun, the Red Ryder BB gun. How about you?
What's the difference? Is the difference a pellet? Am I right that the difference is a BB is completely round and a pellet is shaped in some way that makes
Yeah,
it
I think
deadlier?
yeah, I think the BB is more for target practice. Frankly, a pellet gun, it's like for shooting rabbits, isn't it? I mean, it's a lethal weapon for small animals. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not gonna. I don't think it's gonna kill a person. Um, but I've never fired a pellet gun. But people always have pellet guns, laying around to shoot whatever little things that are.
vermin.
Yeah, I feel like it's to protect their, garden or whatever. A deterrent.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
rabbits. Wow. Love that, Sam. Well, hey, as we wrap up here, Sam, let's go to one of our favorite reoccurring segments, which is our weekly smile. What was making you smile in St. Charles County this
Noah,
week?
you and I, we've now sort of started a tradition where we can't get away from each other on Memorial Day. You and I seem to pop up at the
That's
same
right.
Memorial Day ceremonies, which I think is a great thing. And if you folks listening haven't attended a Memorial Day ceremony for next year, we always put together a great list of. There were 6 ceremonies in St. Charles County this year, 7 if you include Forestell, which I did not include on the list. So apologies to Forestell.
Mm.
Um, and so Noah and I went to.
Forrestal
Yes,
weeps.
they do. Sam's oversight. But Noah and I went to the O'Fallon Memorial Day ceremony. It was really moving. We heard from a Gold Star mother, really the unsung heroes of the American
Mm.
defenders of our freedom, the family they leave behind.
Amen.
So it made me pause. It made me smile that there's a lot of patriotic people here who are going to stop and thank the families of the fallen soldiers, because Memorial Day is for the fallen soldiers. So we can't thank themselves, but we can thank their family, and that's what we did on Monday.
Yeah, Sam, that was a great event, and Sam may have even spoken up at the podium, and he gave beautiful remarks. He reminded us about the distinction, right, between Memorial Day and Veterans Day and Armed Forces Day, and why we celebrate those separately, but they're all really important. What was making me smile, Sam, is I picture, summer is my favorite time of year. Independence Day, which is coming up, is my favorite holiday. And what I love is that, especially in my neighborhood, it's a very patriotic neighborhood. We can just say that. In my neighborhood, there, like I'd say, from Memorial Day at the end of May until the end of July, it's like people decorate like it's Christmas, but instead of Christmas decorations, it's red, white, and blue. It's a lot of American flags and just a lot of great patriotic paraphernalia. My house is in the process of getting finished to be decorated for Independence Day, and I just love it. I love the corridor, like I said, from Memorial Day until kind of August, when the theme for decorations is Old Glory.
That's awesome. I've got my flag out front. We added a few flags for Memorial Day. We'll add a few more for the 4th of July. It's look, we're still the greatest country in the face of the earth, and I'm glad that folks in St. Charles County
Mm.
represent the red, white, and blue, because it's something to be proud of.
Amen, Sam. Take us home.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening to us, watching us. You don't have to do it. You're taking time out of your day. Hopefully, we brought you some information that was helpful to you. If you want to keep reading and listening, you can subscribe to our newsletter. That's at sccc.substack.com. It's one email once a week with sort of a recap of what's going on in the county. We try to keep it short and the most helpful information possible. You can also drop us a line, scccorrespondent@gmail.com. Drop us a tip, a line if you want us to talk about something. Or if you listen to this and you thought it was helpful, drop us a review. You can do that on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or even on YouTube. You can drop us a comment. For Noah Brandt, I'm Sam Saffa, and until next week, this has been the St. Charles County Correspondent.